And there we are. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope you guys have had a nice weekend. See, I just got the notification that I'm live on my channel. How nice is that? Oh, that's too funny. Anyway, let's see who we got in the house here. JJ's here, Kathy's here, Carol Prince, Delbert Jones. We got Bobby Farron is in the house. Alex is here. The Garden Life, Dale from Ohio. Glad to see y'all. I hope, like I said again, I hope everybody's had a very, very good weekend. Weather today was absolutely gorgeous. I mean, just gorgeous. Where's Wendy? Hello from Vancouver Island. Very cool. Jessica Caldwell from Pensacola. Very nice. All right. So before we jump into anything, I just want to remind everybody that this is a very family friendly oriented channel. I would ask you all to please be decent in the chat. No racism, no nastiness. If you cannot abide by those very simple, easy rules, those awesome people lit up in blue with the blue wrenches will boot you out of here because we are not going to tolerate it. Simple as that. Um, I would also ask you guys, the trolls will come in, they'll play their little games. Please do not engage with them because that's what they want. Just let my moderators take care of things, you know, and hopefully it's past their bedtime because I got to get ready to go to school tomorrow or stay in the basement. Who knows? But yeah, just don't engage them. That's what I would ask. All right. So we are past the breaking point, right? Uh, it has gotten to be so outrageous now uh, that if you go out, like, okay, if you want to go out and try to buy a brand new truck, right? Want to try to buy a brand new truck in a nice truck, you know what I mean? Decent four-wheel drive, eight-cylinder, either diesel or regular gas, whatever the case may be. You're looking at anywhere from 85,000 to 110,000 for a truck. For a truck, um, the house that I had when I was living in Greece, New York, that property cost me $100,000 for an entire home. You know, I mean, that's insane. And then, of course, the payments on those things are just absolutely outrageous now. The interest rates are outrageous. Who remembers? I'm trying to think, what was it, 2008? I think it was 2008. You had, you know, credit card companies, what they did then is they took people that, let's say, their interest rates for their credit cards were between, 6 or 8. Hell up, please, baby. I mean, my goodness, every freaking time. Um, their interest rates were between like 6 and 8% for their credit cards, and all of a sudden you got a letter from the credit card company, and they quadrupled your interest rate to like 18 to 24%. And you call up and you're like, what is going on? And I will tell you what happened. I'll give you a good example because it happened to me. You know, um, I had like my credit was fantastic. I had great credit, uh, and I had actually been starting to really hammer down and pay down debt because I was like, I too much. And so all these credit card companies went in and they like jumped the interest rate to an outrageous number. And I called them up and I was like, what is why are you tripling my interest rate? I mean, I said I have very good credit. And they're like, oh no, you have great credit, but you have a heavy debt load. I said, so what? I said, am I making my payments? Well, yeah. Okay, so where do you justify taking my interest rate from 6% to 18%, or from 8% to 24%? And they were like, well, that's just because, like I said, you have a heavy debt load. I said, well, here, I said, I'm going to give you an option. And this is, I'll tell you, folks, this is exactly what I did. I said, I'm going to give you an option. I said, either you put my interest rate back to where it was, or I will never pay you another dime. And they were like, yeah, they did it because they could. Exactly, Dale from Ohio. And I was like, I'll never pay you another dime. And they're like, well, you'll ruin your credit. I said, you don't understand. I go, I don't care. Well, guess what? They didn't lower the interest rate. And guess what? I never paid another dime. And I never, Hamas has rejected another peace officer. Genocide victims do not reject multiple offers of peace. Exactly, Okie Forge. Exactly. They were given till today. Yep. Oh yeah, I could see that one coming. I want to talk about that in a moment too. But anyway, what I kind of want to go on with this one a little bit. So I never did. I never paid another dime. Never gave them another dime. And that's just that. For me it was principle. I mean, and if I dig my heels in and that makes me a jerk, it makes me a jerk. But it's like I wasn't playing that game. And now, like if you try to go out and get a credit card now, I mean, the interest rates are absolutely outrageous. Outrageous. You look at, we got 207 in the chat already. We have 62 thumbs up, guys. If you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you to please do so to show support for the channel. I do appreciate that. It really does make a huge difference with the algorithms as well. So the more interaction, the better it is for the channel. So again, I appreciate it for that reason as well. Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. So I'm going to tell you this. I'll tell you another part of that really quick. Guess how long, when you do that, guess how long it stays on your credit report? Can anybody give me a guess? Because I can tell you exactly, because I played the game, folks. Played the game. How long do you think that stays on your credit report? Hello, what is going on with you? Are you on drugs? Huh? Are you on drugs? Are you? Be honest. Tell me. I won't be upset with you. You need to stop. Okay, stop. All right. Stays on there. Well, it's 7 years on your credit report, and then they have to take it off. It really kind of ruins your credit for almost 10 years, though. And then after 10 years, guess what happens? They start calling you and wanting to give you more credit cards. It's insane. It is insane. But yeah, it just letting you guys know. I mean, because that is, everybody's like, oh, well, because at the time people are you going to file for bankruptcy? I went, no, no, I'm not. But anyway, so you had that game that was played back in 2008. So now, like anybody trying to get a credit card, the interest rates are absolutely outrageous. Okay. Second thing, I remember when I went off grid. I've been off grid for over 10 years now. Okay. And I had people on this channel. I'm talking about living off grid, and you pay the money once, and now I don't have a gas and electric bill. And there were people like, oh, well, my bill's only this much. It's not that bad. And I said at the time, I said, these power companies are going to continue to raise the prices for power because they have you by the cajones. Because the thing is, they got you, and what happens is if you don't pay your gas and electric bill, they'll shut you off, right? If they shut you off, the towns, the cities all have these ordinances in place that they'll condemn your home because you have to be hooked up. You have to be hooked up to the grid, right? Or have to have power. You have to have power. So there was a big thing of a lady that was trying to live off grid in Florida in a town, and they made her life a living hell. What are you doing? Stop. Come on, Clyde, go. So they made her life a living hell because she didn't want to play the game anymore. All right. So Anyway, I was talking to one of my members who lives up in New York still, and he was talking. It's Village Homestead, actually, if you're wondering who I was talking about. And we were having a conversation, and he was talking about the power companies raised their rates already once, again, recently, and they want to raise them again. And he was telling me that people that he knows are normally now getting their gas and electric bills between $300 and $500 a month. And I want you to think about that. A lot of, like, the first house that I bought up in Rochester, I was in Charlotte, New York. Okay, and that house, I think it was like a $60,000 house, something in that range. And I mean, my mortgage payment was right around 500 and something a month. And one of the things that we did with that one, um, I had put in a brand new heat system and a brand new electric, air conditioning system, and it brought our bill down unbelievably. The house that I had in Greece, New York, we blew in foam insulation up into the attic, and that really reduced our bill as well because we weren't losing all that heat, and it was cooler in the summertime. And obviously, we had the gas and electric then, but we kept the zones. Every zone was at like 50 degrees, and then we had the wood stove in the wintertime. So we kept everything at 50, and we still. There was one January, and this is just an example. And guys, this is more than 10 years ago. This is when I was still living on grid, still living in Greece, New York. We got a bill that one January, and the bill, our normal bill in the wintertime was like maybe 300 a month because it was cold and it's New York and and all that type of stuff. Um, that my power bill is 300 to 500 monthly in Pennsylvania on a 1,200 square foot house. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, the power companies are way greedy, unbelievably greedy. But anyway, we got our bill, and it was like $800 that January. And when you're used to paying like three, and you're paying like 150 in the summertime. I had a 1,912 square foot house, so it was a good sized house, but it was insane. And but everybody across the board had gotten those type of bills that year, so they were gonna work with people and let them do it over several months. But yeah, as long as you need service, they got you exactly. And that was my point back then. Um, I was like, I want to go off grid, and then they don't own me. They can't shut my power off, and that was like a big factor for me, to do that. But you're having a lot of people now are getting hammered with these huge, monstrous gas and electric bills, and then you got to fill up your oil if you're heating with oil, and if you're baseboard heat, you're electric. So it's just we are past the breaking point when vehicles are costing more now than to buy a house, and if you and what they'll do is they'll go out 6, 7, 8 years on your vehicle payment, right? Well, how good do you think that vehicle is going to be in 8 years, especially if you live in the Northeast with all the salt on the roads and everything like that? I mean, it's a no-win situation, guys. It's an absolutely no-win situation. Now, we're not even talk about right off the bat here, but we're going to look at food prices, folks. I mean, it has gotten insane. I mean, I was at the store the other day and, picking up a few things, and I was actually thinking about picking up a pound of bacon just because remember we are talking in the last live stream, and I was like, man, you know what? I think I might get a pound of bacon. It was like $10 for a pound of bacon. I'm like, I'm not getting bacon at $10 a pound. I said, that's insane. That is insane. I mean, it's rare. What I'll do occasionally is I'll pick up a pound of hamburger, and I like sloppy joes. So I'll call Steve up and I'll say, hey, dude, listen, I picked up hamburger and some buns. Do you want some sloppy joes? Because I'm only going to eat a couple. I mean, I might eat three. And so, I'll have a lot left over. So he'll come up and he'll have a couple, and then whatever's left over, I give it to the dog. So, that's a bait and switch game. People rely so much on everyday luxuries and get too relaxed and complacent. No, you're absolutely right. Delbert said, Ed, I lived in upstate Illinois, and on average, a new car will not last you until you pay off the due to the rust. Oh, exactly. And that's exactly it. And then the trade-in value gets turned to crap. Yeah, Village Home says, why are used vehicles that are 4 years old with 30,000 miles need to be $35,000? Right. Yep. Yeah, and it's being sold for more than the MSRP. Yeah, that of that vehicle year. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy right now, and that's what's happening. And people are just, they're drowning in debt. They're trying to keep their head above water. Their credit cards are all maxed out, and you're in a really really bad situation. Hey Juby, I got to jump out and chat unless that is something that I can't help but comment on. Oh, that's funny. Um, but yeah, it's gone absolutely crazy. And at the time, people were going, like I said, when I decided to go off grid, they're like, oh, it's not that expensive to be on grid. But again, they own you. They can do whatever they want to do, and there's not a darn thing you can do about it. So, like I said, if you don't pay, they'll shut you off. And then to get returned back on, you got to pay all kinds of fees and everything else. And again, these towns, they're all towns in the cities and stuff, they're all working together because, again, if you are not hooked up, your place gets condemned. So it's a very, very vicious cycle. That may be why the Amish can afford to buy all the farm ground. Well, you know what it is? They don't rely on the system. And then they're, and the thing is with the Amish are not afraid of hard work. There's the other part of it, you know. So they save their money. They're not pissing their money away buying all the luxury this, luxury that, having to have the latest and greatest cell phone. I'll give you a good example of something. I had gotten my latest cell phone bill, and I was telling Heather, I was like, oh, I'm like so excited because 3 months away from the phone, because the phone's going to be paid for, and there's another thing that's going to be paid for, so my bill's going to go down because I don't have to pay that extra every month anymore. So I am really, really looking forward to that. And again, like this phone here works just fine. I don't need the latest and greatest. This one's 3 years old. It's almost 3 years old that I've had this phone. And I don't need a new one. I don't want a new one. This one works just fine, and I'm good with that, But again, it's like, the Amish doesn't have all these, they don't have a cell phone bill, right? So, and if they do have a phone or a cell phone they need to use for work, they get the cheap pop-up ones, or they get the track phone where it's not expensive to have that. I mean, I'm spoiled. I'm not going to lie. I like having access to the internet on my phone and, unlimited talk and texting and all that type of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm used to that and I like that. So that's what I have. But they don't have utility bills. They don't have they don't do gas and electric. They will have the wood stoves. They'll go out, they'll get their firewood, and that's how they heat their homes. They're not worried about the hot water on demand heater going because it's more than 10 years old and the stupid thing is only built to last for 10 years. They don't have to worry about those kind of expenses because they don't have them. They have a reservoir, they'll heat up water on the wood stove, and that's how they do it. And we got our roof done by the Amish in July, and they did a wonderful job. Oh, yeah, like I say, Rose, they're workers. They're workers. That's what they do, And they have a whole bunch of kids, and they don't have a lot of the How much do you pay for unlimited? I'm not going to tell you what my phone bill is, Javon. It's enough. I pay enough. Well, the thing is, I have my cell phone. I have the internet as well, like being able to get on here, with my business and stuff like that. So that's how I'm able to get the box that works. And I actually have two boxes, and I get 300 gig out of each one. And I generally don't go through 300 gig in a month. So, it just really, it depends. Actually, tomorrow is my flip over date on that one. So it'll be a new month. But yeah, it's just, but again, everything is so expensive, and it makes it really, really difficult for people. Your gas and electric, your mortgage, your car payment, car insurance. Look what car insurance has done. That's gone crazy as well. What do we got? 337 in the chat, guys. We're at 132 on the thumbs up. If you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you to please do so to show support for the channel. I really do appreciate it. It really does make a huge, huge difference with the algorithms. And I thank you for that as well. Also, again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure that you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. I was asking because I only pay $50 for Simple Mobile. Oh, no, and that's fine. And that's fine. But like I said, I have other stuff, on mine. So it cost me a little bit more, but it's like where I want it to be. And they've tried to. I will tell you this right now. I'm with Verizon. I've been with Verizon ever since I got a cell phone. All right. They tried to play a little game on me a couple times and make my payment be higher. And I just call and I act. And I'm nice, but I'm firm. If that means that I'm an a-hole, then I'm an a-hole. But if I am told when I buy my phone that my bill's going to be XYZ, right? And then I get my phone bill and it's, $20 or $30 higher, I have a problem with that because that's not what I wanted. So I will call and I'll get it squared away and they will bring my bill down to where I had said, yes, I wanted at that point. So you got to understand too, I live in the middle of the woods. There's no power lines here. There's no internet other than, a mobile hotspot type of internet, that I can use out here. So that it's a whole different thing. It's not like New York. Oh my God. I miss the fiber optic. I will tell you that right now. I miss the fiber optic. Really miss that a lot. So, but this internet works well. I really don't have a complaint. Most of my videos are going to be between 8 and 12 minutes when I do a video. And if it's an 8-minute video, it might take 20 minutes for it to upload. I'm okay with that. That's not a big deal. It's when a video takes an hour and a half to upload, that's a pain in the butt. So, it really kind of depends. But $55 a month plus tax for cell phone with unlimited internet, straight talk. Been using them for 4 or 5 years now, all over the country, no issues. Oh, there you go. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, like I said, you just, it's wants and needs. With anything else, guys, what do I want? What do I need? Delbert said, Ed, I know I'm way back in the sticks and not much choice what internet to go. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, for me, either I get a satellite dish or I would have to go with the Tesla one that they have, with a satellite where you buy that. And that's expensive each month, too. Or I do it the way that I'm doing it now. And the way that I'm doing it now, I like it. It works for me. And so I don't have a problem doing it that way. So, yeah, Starlink, that's what you're talking. Yep, absolutely. So, but yeah, like I said, what it comes down to is what works for you. And so, I like to be able to be on as much as I want. If I have a day off and I'm not doing anything and I want to be online all day, I don't want to have to worry about, oh my God, I got to worry about, my usage and all that type of stuff. So, and I get updates. If I hit 50% usage, they send me an email. If I hit 75% usage, they send me an email. So And that's only like that'll be on just one box. So if I like I said, each box I get 300 gig. So if I get to that point, I'm watching. By the 6th of the next month, then it rolls to the next one. So I generally don't have an issue with that at all. But Janet says, "Can we get 200 thumbs up before egg count?" That'd be cool. Yeah, we're at 160 already. Holy crap! I didn't even realize that. That's awesome. But anyway, people are really, really struggling. Most people are past the breaking point. So that's we're there. We're in that downward spiral, and something has to give at some point. We can't keep doing what we're doing. People just can't do it. How much can they take before people go? I'm not doing this anymore. And they just you look at taxes on your properties. How many people in here? Let me ask you this: in the last, let's do it in the last 3 years. In the last 3 years, have your property taxes gone up? Yes or no in the comments, please. Let me just know. And I'll tell you even like with myself. So yes or no in the comments. Have your property taxes gone up in the last 3 years? So I'm getting more yeses, a lot more yeses than nos. And the reason they do that is they're like, oh, well, we're not going to raise taxes, so they'll raise property taxes to get more revenue coming in. The property in New York. This is a good example, and a lot of it came from because of trolls coming on, calling the town, trying to cause trouble. They've done it down here too, so it's not like it stopped when I moved to West Virginia. It didn't. Okay. But the difference is it's different down here, and I'm not in New York anymore. So there's a big difference there. But anyway, in New York, what they did, and this was in a 3-year period. Okay, so my taxes were here, and then they doubled them. Right, the first year they doubled them. The second year they doubled it again, and in the third year they doubled it again. So my property was assessed. God, I can't remember what it was assessed for. But anyway, what they did was, with the property in New York, I had it at like it was. God, I'm trying to remember what it was assessed at. Like 15 for the longest time. They didn't come down my road. It was a dead end dirt road, so they didn't come down there. So I was at like 15 forever, and then it went from 15 to 30. Then next year it went from 30,000. This is the assessment, 30,000 to 60,000. In the year after that, it went from 60,000 to 121,000. They did it that bad, and so the taxes went from reasonable to outrageous, up there, and that's just the way it goes. My taxes have gone up down here as well, and again, it's people calling, and then the town doing whatever they're going to do, and it's just the way it is. But the other thing I was going to talk about too, you look at rent. Look at what rent is now. I mean, the rent for apartments is just insane. One of my group members who moved down here, okay, they have a 2-bedroom apartment. They live in an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment, and their rent is $1,400 a month. And when they told me that, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, that is outrageous to something that you're never going to own, something you're never going to own. You're paying $1,400 a month. That's craziness. I don't care if it's in the nicest neighborhood that's out there. That's outrageous. But it's what's been going on. And then if you live in a big city, oh my God, forget about it. If you like living in New York City or Philly, any of the bigger, Boston, I'm just going with East Coast. I hate to think what it is out in California. So Yeah, Kim is saying it's more there. Yeah, Nag's Head. Yeah, I would imagine Nag's Head was outrageous. Yvonne says we pay 1,200 a month. Wow. Yeah, that's just it's nuts. One bedroom, close to 1,900 a month. That's crazy. Yeah. So our homeowner insurance triples. Oh, there's another one. Let's talk about insurances, guys. Right? Talk about a corner on the market. You have to have insurance, but and who are all and who are we as a people need to blame for all this BS? Well, who's in charge, right? Big business and the government that is complacent with them. That's whose fault it is. Again, people can't keep doing what they're doing. Why do you think so many of these kids are still home in their 30s? A lot of them would like to get out on their own. They just can't afford to do it unless you got two or three roommates. I mean, if your rent is 1,400 a month, I mean, I remember I had a studio apartment and I was living in the city of Rochester, and it was a nice neighborhood. Um, and I can't remember what I was paying a month anymore because I mean that's eons ago. That's more than 30 years ago. So but it was not unreasonable. I had I think it was I had two different places that were both studio apartments, and that was fine for me. I didn't care, you know. Oh, the property taxes in California, they got to be insane. Tri Seattle one bedroom averages 22 to 2,400 a month. Wow, Paulette, that's who can afford that? Who can afford and heaven forbid you try to buy a home. And there's the other part of it, folks. Now, if you buy a home, your taxes are outrageous, right? You're paying 2.5 times by the time you pay that home off because all these loans from the banks for your 30-year mortgage are all front loaded. So like in the very beginning, your first 5-6 years, you're paying minimal principal. Most of it is taxes and interest. I'll give you an example. My payment on my place that I had in Greece, New York, the payment excuse me, my payment was 1225 a month is what my payment was for my house. Okay. Of that 1225 a month, 1100 of it was taxes and interest. I was paying literally 120 a month on principal. The rest was taxes and interest. I mean, it was just insane. It was just insane. How do people live in California when it's so expensive? Well, look at the homeless population out there, Alex. You know, my last apartment 20 years ago was I was paying about 500 a month something. Yeah, exactly. So it's a no win situation. Denver, one bedroom, one bath, 2,100 plus utilities and internet and parking. Wow, that's crazy, Tim. That's crazy. Yeah, and again, I mean, and the jobs are not paying like great money. There's a lot of jobs that are not paying great. Yeah, PMI. Oh yeah, yep. I've talked about that before, Juby Joe. Yep, talked about that quite a bit. But my county taxes personal property, uh, fridge stove, and rental we own. Wow, that's crazy. Hey, Pam Norwood, prices have never gone back since the Biden scam short era shutdown. I hear you. Thank you very much for the donation, and thank you very much for the statement as well. And you're right. They continue to squeeze us. They will continue to squeeze us. You know, they just found a new fault line about 30 minutes north of me, and we just had another earthquake here. Oh wow, that's wild. Yeah, that's wild. But yeah, that's where we're at, folks. I mean, that's where we're at. It's absolutely gone insane. People cannot afford to live. So what's the breaking point? That whole Agenda 2030. Everybody talked about Agenda 2030 and all that. Is that not playing out before our eyes? I mean, that's a question I'm asking you. Are we not seeing that play out before our eyes? it makes affordability unaffordable. They're making things so that it's just we sold our house out of debt and rent for the rest of our lives in PA, 600 a month, probably a grand with everything. It happens. It happens. It's unfortunate. Yeah, Lamb's Light says families have to stick together now, and that's why you're seeing so many people choose to stay home. You know. Oh yeah, and then medical insurance. Oh my God, thank you, Malachi Corner. There's another great one. Let's talk about that. Oh, I will tell you this. So, and again, this is going way back. You know, when the kids were little, and my wife was a stay-at-home wife. I watched my insurance for a family of five. I was paying out of pocket too, just so you guys know. I was paying out of pocket every single year, 12 to 17% increases. So, 12 to 17% increase every single year for health insurance. Insane. It's just unbelievable. Tess said there's more laws against homeless persons, creating more problems. I'm not talking about those refusing to get housed, but they're really trying to make things work. Well, like I said, again, there's so many people, trying to live out of their cars, living out of RVs and stuff like that now, just because of the affordability of things. It's just, and then you have this health insurance. Let's talk about this for a second, right? So you get health insurance, and then you get some kind of sickness of something, and they will tell you, yes, we'll cover this. No, we won't cover that. Here's your copays for your medicines, which again, so why are you paying for insurance? I mean, you know what I mean? It's just, it's a no-win situation, situation. And it just, every year, it gets worse and worse and worse. At the time, I was working 66 hours a week, folks. I did that for 10 years. 66 hours a week for 10 years. And every year, it seemed I was getting a little further behind because everything was going up so much and I couldn't work any more than I was working. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. And I wanted to, and non-citizens get everything for free. Exactly. And I got a problem with that too. I'll be honest with you. Free housing, free food, money vouchers, free phones that we pay for. The middle class is the ones paying for it. The rich ain't paying for that. The rich know every loophole in the world how to get out of paying taxes. And that's what they do. That's what they do. They're not stupid. They know what they're doing. The middle class, and again, that line between rich, middle class, and poor, pretty soon is just going to be rich and poor, working poor, because that's what we're turning into. We're turning into working poor. I have done, hey, Pam, but don't we all want to pay 500 million for trans surgery support in Uganda? Yeah, exactly. Well, and again, wasting our tax dollars on frivolous stuff that we wouldn't support anyway. So, but yeah, it's just, like I said, people are getting to that breaking point, and at some point we're going to reach it. And then what happens? I mean, you look at, just even now, and it's not necessarily just about Trump and because it's Trump. I mean, there's a lot of that. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people hate him. A lot of people, are going to do everything they possibly can, to try to screw him up. I mean, look what they do all the time. You see, Newsom just said he was suing the Trump administration because he wanted to send 300 National Guardmen from California into Oregon. Yeah, But no, I'm glad Trump stopped a lot of that nonsense too. Oh yeah, gold and silver continue to rise. I think the last I saw, silver was at like $47 an ounce. Not bad. I'm not complaining. you know. But again, you know, things are getting crazy and people are going crazy. And if you watch my earlier video today, I addressed this. The last time that this was happening, all around the world, people were rising up. People were saying, I've had enough. I'm not doing it anymore. What hit? Boom, the pandemic hit. And then everybody had to be locked in their homes and couldn't. 48, 34 right now? Okay. That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. Um, then everybody had to be locked in their homes and there was all these restrictions and stuff like that. Guys, I'm telling you, that other shoe's getting ready to drop. It's getting ready to drop. And I like I said, I'm not going to say it's going to be this or it's going to be that. I have my own theories. I, like I've talked to you guys. I've felt that it is going to be a grid down situation. That's what I've felt for a long time. And I don't think I'm wrong with that. Okay. But like I said, we will see. It's just, but there's going to be something that's going to happen soon because the people that are really in control, and I'm not talking always about the governments, I'm talking about the people behind the scenes that have been in power, that pull all the strings. They want to stay in control. And if people are rising up and taking over governments and saying that's enough, like at that one place, and we talked about it that one time here, not too far back, and I can't remember what country it was, but the people took over. They said no more. They said no more, and they kicked the government out. The government don't want that. You know what I mean? So they're going to try. I honestly feel that something is going to happen. Do you think the banks are going to collapse? It could happen. I mean, it absolutely. Look what happened the last time with the banks, bad loans and all that type of stuff. Which I didn't really buy all that, to be honest with you, because they make so much money. These banks make so much money. Village Homestead said gold will be 10K shortly and silver 330, with a 10-year projection much higher. Real well, that'd be wild. That would be wild. And who was the one that kept telling you guys, add silver, add silver, add silver? Just saying. Who was the one that kept saying it? So, can I answer a question about solar panels, please? What do you need to know, Lamb's Light? What would you like to know? Yeah, JJ saying history will repeat itself over and over and over again. You are correct. You are absolutely correct. All right, really quickly, too, I just want to ask again, we're at 366 in the chat. We got 206 thumbs up. Again, if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, please do so to show support for the channel. Again, I really do appreciate that. It really makes a huge difference with the algorithms. So the more interaction, the better it is for the channel. So I thank you for that reason. Also, again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. And I thank you ahead of time. Yeah, look at the dollar. Look how much the dollar has been devalued. It's just a piece of paper. The only thing that says that it has any value is our government. And what have they been doing with those printing presses, folks? Is keep printing, trying to throw money at the problem. And that's not how you do it. When they took us off the gold standard, 1974, I believe it was, Nixon did it, took us off the gold standard. That was the beginning of the end of the dollar. That was the beginning of the end. And when you're also looking right now, what are we also dealing with, right? We've been the dominant player with the fiat dollar forever and a day. Well, who's out there now with a new thing, right? BRICS. Yeah, the petrodollar, exactly. BRICS is out there. And they're all working together. 1972, Nixon took us off the gold standard. Okay. All right. Well, I knew it was back there at some point. So thank you. I was little then. What do you want from me? 1972, I was 7 years old. But, I've studied it as an adult. But again, like I said, the dollar is being devalued left, right, and center. And we are in that spiral of that toilet bowl going down and going down and going down. And that's what's happening. That is what's happening. And if you want to keep the rose colored glasses on and think everything is wonderful and it's going to get better, you are delusional, because it isn't getting better. It's getting worse, and it's going to get worse. And people say, well, it'll get worse before it gets better. It's not going to get better. I don't believe it's going to get better. So, all right, guys, we are going to go ahead and do egg count now. So, how many eggs today? Yes or no for Miss Betty White? And of the 3 Easter eggers, how many laid today? So I'll give you guys a minute to get your guesses in, and we will go from there. So I'll give you guys a moment so you can get your guesses. I'll answer that in a second, Kim. You can increase your solar panels if you want to, as long as your charge controller can handle it. That's what you have to look at, okay? As long as your charge controller can handle the wattage, then you can increase by adding more solar panels. Most inverters are going to be able to handle. I mean, if you're only adding 200-watt panels, you should be absolutely fine. I'll just give you guys another minute here. All right, finally. We finally have a right answer. I kept waiting. I'm like, somebody's got to get it right. If you had the same exact answer as Delbert Jones with 8 eggs today, yes for Miss Betty White, and 2 of the 3 Easter eggers laid today, then you are absolutely correct. Nobody else did, so Delbert's the only one. So congratulations to Delbert. You have won absolutely nothing, but you are happy about it. You are happy about it. So there we go. So you're welcome, Lamb's Light. Yeah, like I said, you got to look at your an example would be as far as the solar goes. I have 6 360-watt panels out there right now for my solar. I could add another 6 360-watt panels, and my charge controller would be able to handle that. I could get as many batteries as I want, but they're expensive, so I don't. But I could, like I said, I could add 6 more 360-watt panels to my array, which would be really helpful in the wintertime. But, that's not happening right now. But, it is. But again, you have to look at what, yes. Yep. Can you get a salt in a battery? I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. But no, I'm gonna tell you what, guys. Even if you have a small system, something small, a couple of a few panels, charge controller, inverter. Thank you, JJ. I don't know what that was all about. The bottom will fall out in golden of go out of our gold and silver markets. Too many countries are buying them to back their currency. A big FU to the American dollar. Well, like I said, again, the dollar is on a downward spiral. Pay attention and look. Do your research. I would absolutely encourage you to do your research on that, and you will see that the dollar is being devalued. BRICS is a big part of that. These countries that are all getting on board with BRICS, Brazil, China, Russia, and there's a whole bunch more. A lot of a lot of African countries are getting on board with that. There's a lot of Chinese companies working in Africa right now. Why? Because they're giving these countries a better deal than we are. China wants to be the player, folks. They want to be the big dog. We've been the big dog for a long time, but China wants to be the big dog. But yeah, gold has gone absolutely crazy. But like I said again, there's a lot going on, a lot of things to pay attention to, obviously, and you know, yeah, you can look at the graph of the dollar value; it keeps going down, absolutely. But they don't talk about that because they don't want you to be scared. They don't want you to look at that and go, "Holy crap!" I'm going to tell you what, and I've said this before. I would rather put my money into tangible goods than into the dollar. And what does that mean? If I have, I'll use clothespins just as an example, right? If I have 12 packs of clothespins, SHTF happens, and you can't hang up your laundry because you have no way to do it. You might have a clothesline, but you don't have clothespins. Well, what are my clothespins worth then? Hey, stop. Um, what are my clothespins worth then? They're worth a lot. So tangible goods, things that you can put your hands on that are going to retain value. Okay, barterable items. You know, I'm gonna tell you right now, I have no gold. I will not own gold. It is. I've said that before. You know, and I gave you the reasons why. I get more bang for my buck with silver in the long run, especially when the time comes and the world has gone to crap and the dollar's not worth a thing anymore than the paper it is printed on. Um, Silver is going to be a very barterable item, and you're going to be able to utilize that to get things that you need. And so, you know, that's just we got hard times coming, and people are just going along, pretending like everything's fine, and they are not fine, folks. And again, well, copper, older pennies, save your older pennies before they changed them. You know, they're going to be, they have more copper in them. What? You need to stop. No, you need to stop. I don't care. I don't. No, I really don't. Hella, down. Enough. No, no. God, she is a petulant child. It's hard for me to follow all these economics, so I understand more local bases, but beyond that, I couldn't seem to keep all it straight. Wish I had a mind for mathing in that regard. Well, like I said again, knowing that things are getting harder. I mean, in everybody's households, things are not getting easier. If you're see, here's the thing: if you're super rich, you don't care because you're super rich. You don't care what the interest rates are. You don't care how much something costs because you're rich. Hella weighs 95 pounds, Delbert. We weighed her. She weighs 95 pounds. Yeah. Yeah, she is a very solid girl. Very solid girl. Yeah, they're talking about stopping and making pennies because it costs 3 cents to make a penny. So, you know, but again, you know, things are going to get bad. Things are going to continue to get bad. I'm going to always continue to encourage you to prepare, put your money into tangible goods, tradable goods, something that you think people might want to have after things go to crap. I mean, it could be something as simple as this, guys: razors, shampoo, cream rinse, soap, deodorant. You know, have you ever I mean, I'm sure everybody here at some point has. I'll be out there and I'll be working on something, and at the end of the day, when I can smell myself, that's bad. That's bad. Okay. Yeah. Oh, actually, antibiotics will be worth more than gold, to be honest with you. So, yeah, having wood stoves, having extra piping, you know, those are things that they're going to be worth something. They're going to be worth something. You know, uh, make sure you have plenty of toothpaste, toothbrushes, dental floss. It's like almost every time now that I go to the store, and it sounds kind of crazy, but I use it a lot. So to me, it's not. I'll pick up a 3-pack of the dental floss, and I like the stuff that works well. So it costs like almost $10 for a 3-pack of the dental floss, but I like dental floss, so I use it. You know, and I still have most of my teeth. I think I've only had, how many have I had pulled? I had 2 pulled a few years ago before I moved down here. Probably 5 teeth in my life I've had pulled, but I know a lot of people my age don't have a tooth in their head, or they got 2 or 3, and that's it. So I mean, my teeth are still my teeth. Like what you see, those are all mine. So but you got to keep taking care of them. Hygiene is going to be a huge, huge thing. Yeah, candles are going to be a big thing. When there's no power, you may need teeth, or you may need teeth. You may need candles. You got to have light. You got to be able to see. So those are things that people, again, go get your, as many candles as you can. That's a very barterable item, and they're not super expensive. And I'm not talking about buying the great big ones. I mean, just the candlesticks. They're fairly cheap. Go to the dollar store. You can get a bunch of candles at the dollar store. You know, do that. So I mean, there's options out there. Medical supplies are going to be a huge one. Malachi's Corner said antibiotics, lighters. Yeah, I mean, just any kind of way. Like, let's see. I'm just going to grab this right here. There's a 3-pack right there, just sitting up there. I got lighters all over the place. Will you stop? It wasn't, I didn't call you. No, I did not. But again, yeah, rechargeable lights, solar lights, right? Get the box with the solar lights. Those are great to have. They work fantastic. You put them out in the sun during the day, and at night you can bring them in, and there you go. You got light for however many hours at night, and that makes a big, big difference. But again, like I said, the laundry list of things that you would want to have, that's what you got to think about. Wants and needs. What do I want, and what do I need? And you better start stocking up on those needs, because again, when things go sideways, not if things go sideways, when things go sideways, they're not going to be available. So we got 307 in the chat. We got 241. Let's see if we get 9 more before we jump off here. Let's hit 250 today. That would be very cool. So if you have not shot that thumbs up yet, please do so. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. And again, it really does help with the algorithm. So the more interaction, the better it is for the channel. Yeah, clothing, guys, wool blankets. What? No, stop. Enough. No more. That's it. Yeah, contractor garbage bags, Raymond. That's what I would recommend. But wool blankets, wool socks, plenty of jackets, extra shoes. Those. Think about the things that you have, and if you could not go back to the store to get anything else, how ready are you for that? Boots, right? Muck boots. You're going to want to have something like that. Lamb's Light said, I literally have no more space. I hear you. No, I understand that. I absolutely do. So, but anyway, yeah, so 352, awesome. We got past 250. That's awesome. So, anyway, I am going to jump off of here for now. I'm going to leave you with my favorite saying, and I have it. I like it so much that it's tattooed on my back. STD, right? If you set realistic goals that you can reach, you can accomplish anything that you set your mind to. If you use this theory, one step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time, and you work at it methodically, it doesn't have to be about prepping. It doesn't have to be about living off grid. It's whatever you're trying to accomplish in life. If you work methodically at it, you can accomplish anything that you want to. So you do that, and you're going to be just fine. All right. I hope you all have a great night. I hope you guys are stocking up. I really, really do. I keep saying I don't think we got a lot of time. I really don't. We're trying to get everything that we can possibly get done down here. I keep encouraging my people, get more things on site. Get more things on site. Because when the time comes, you don't know if you're going to be able to get that. I mean, it's easy to say this. I'm going to load up my car and my trailer and bring it all down at, that last trip. You don't know if you're going to be able to. You don't know what the road conditions are going to be. You don't know if you're going to be able to drive. So the more stuff that you have on site at your bug out locations, that's less you got to worry about when the time comes. So that is my advice to you guys. Have a great night. I will talk to you all later. Prepper Nurse 1 out for now.